Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and I'm a little sad today. I was a little bummed. I've been getting a bunch of equipment for upgrading the sound to my podcast. Podcast? It's not a podcast. It's a video recording thingy. Anyway, so I have a Logitech USB mic that I've been using ever since I started, and it's not been great, but it does the job. It's decent. But I wanted to do a little bit better than that. So start asking around, ask some people that I know that have better mics, and I landed on this one, which looks really fancy-ish, Rode Procaster. And they got a Focusrite, I guess it's an amp or something, I don't really know what it is. So I can put the mic through that and go to USB, and finally got a stand for it as well, and long story short, it just wasn't going to work. It has this clamp thing that would just not fit anywhere on either my desk, my main desk over here, or my table. It just wouldn't reach up in the thing that you tighten to put down. It just wasn't going to work. So I was a little bit bummed at that. I tried using some of my other equipment that I have for my drum set and some stands that I had left lying around, and it just wasn't going to work. So I sadly had to break everything down and think of a different way. So I ended up ordering a stand that is meant to be put on your table. So hopefully I'll be able to put it here, and then it'll come down here and then point up at me. And so you'll still be able to see the mic when I'm using it, but then it'll be pointed directly at me. I've got the little thing, here, so that will be able to stop the, those pops that you get when you talk. And then I'll feel like I'm more professional. I'll feel like a real recorder, whatever that means. So it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm bummed out. I was hoping to actually use it today. It's a Sunday evening, and I was hoping to use it and start making some more recordings with it, but alas, it is not to be. So, what am I actually going to be doing? Well, I might get an episode or two in recording. By the way, the day job has been going well. I've been there now for almost 2 months, and it's been going well. It's the whole COVID thing threw a wrench into, I think, the plans that everybody had in terms of building a dev advocacy team, dev relations, and all that other stuff. So we've had to kind of change our focus for a while until hopefully things get back to normal, maybe early next year. Who really knows at this point? I'm trying to keep a positive attitude towards things, but yeah, it's at some point this has got to change, and I hope it does. I'm really missing doing talks at conferences and things like that. So in any event, actually the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be working on an engineering team, and I'm looking forward to it because we, especially me, have to get more experience in understanding how the business actually works, how things, happen underneath the scenes, and this is going to give me the opportunity to do like a month essentially of coding and development and working with a team and getting some insight into not just the technical aspects, but the business aspects as well. So I am looking forward to that. That should be fun. It's also interesting because Quicken Loans did an IPO, which I had no idea that was even in the works or planning or anything like that when I joined the company. And then that happened. So RKT, Rocket Companies. It's interesting because I've never been I don't think I've ever been part of a company that was publicly traded. I worked for Keen many years ago, like in 1997, 98. I don't think they were publicly traded back then. I think they were bought by a company that is. I'm not sure. But, it's Is it any different? Does it make anything better or worse? I think like everything, there's advantages and disadvantages. But we'll see how this plays out. It definitely hasn't changed anything for me. It's not like I'm suddenly going like, oh yay or oh crap. It's mostly doesn't really change my job at all. So at least not now, it doesn't. So is what it is, and that's about all I'll say about that. So just kind of interesting to be part of a company that actually did that, and to see, especially for people that have been there longer, just excitement and interest and curiosity about it. So in any event, so what am I going to be talking about here? I started doing some stuff with source generators and looking at how to build a source generator to do mapping. So the idea and the intent is that you'll have a class here or a record, because I am using C#9 here. This is a preview version. So you just basically say, what can I map to? And you just say map to type of destination. Off it goes, and it does that. I thought of maybe trying to say if you type in a extension type of method or something like that, that we generate it from that perspective, but that didn't seem like it was going to work very well. Maybe I'll come back to that later on, but for right now I just said, hey, if you got a type here, I know I can map to this. And then what will happen is all the code that I've written 4 years ago will essentially kick in, more or less, except it's going to be done from generators. Problem is right now it doesn't work. So I got kind of hung up on, well, how do you debug these? How do you unit test them? I had no idea. Somebody jokingly said, but it was the right answer. I just put debugger launch into my generator, and I went, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. And I meant, like, really, I am an idiot. I should have thought of that. That would have actually caused the generator code to launch into another instance of Visual Studio, and I could have debugged it that way. I really, though, wanted to do unit testing. So there are a couple of ideas that people posted for me. It's kind of one of those cases where Twitter actually comes through and gives you some ideas. In fact, one guy, I think his name is David, he showed a GIF of a tool he's creating that you basically show the code that you're typing, and then in real time it shows you the generated code that's actually going to be happening. One thing I've noticed is there's, like, for example, let me just go in here and show you this. I was getting frustrated, so I just had a way to generate some tester test code, and I would say if I go here in my code, do I actually see that? In the results here, you'll see that I'm trying to call tester.test. Well, if you try to go into tester.test, it doesn't go anywhere, okay? But it would actually compile because it would actually show up. But it was like there was a video that just came from Microsoft where they were doing the iNotify property change interface example, and as soon as they put an attribute on their field, they could do a dot in IntelliSense and it would show the generated property related to it. And I'm like, how is that working? Because this isn't happening. Of course, this isn't happening yet for me that I can tell, because I'm not even able to get my method generated. So, yay for me. Anyway, we're going to take that out because we really shouldn't even have this in here. We're going to do some right things. The first thing I think, though, that I did find out is that for whatever reason, here in my map to receiver, it's actually, it was coming in as map to receiver. That's actually working. But what's not working is that it's actually getting any candidates. So the map to receiver here, for whatever reason, with a syntax node, is not actually showing that it has any attributes. Okay, my mic didn't freak out there. So somewhere in here, this isn't working. So we're actually going to create some tests. We're going to have map to receiver tests here. And we'll do all the stuff, the things, and go public static class. And we'll say test. Because we have NUnit, we do public static void find candidates when attribute is declared as map2, for lack of a better term. Now the thing is I'm actually declaring a syntax node here. So what I think I want is actually, let me do this. I'm going to bring up rocks because I know I have some helper methods in here. And I think also in my editor config generator, I also have helper code to actually parse and build code and blah, blah, blah. So let's see if I can find it in here. Of course, that's always the struggle is update my license, trial license. Give me a break. I don't have a trial license. Better not have a trial license because that's going to be no. So setup fixture. No, that's not it. Rock tests, serialization tests. There's always this thing of, hey, well, you know what? I should just be able to go into any of these and not find what, you know what? Let's go in editor config generator because I think that's actually where I really want my stuff. Editor config generator, name editor config generator, solution, sure. 30 minutes of me recording an episode where I'm just trying to find code that I can copy and paste. You know, such is life. Okay, so we have tests here, extensions, test with, you know, well, okay, there's got to be somewhere in here where I'm actually, syntax factory, parse compilation unit. Yes, syntax factory. Not Visual Basic. Okay, parse, what was it? Parse compilation unit. Can we say tree, syntax tree? That actually might be better. Okay, so what we really want to say here is something like, okay, we'll say var tree is equal to that. And now what I want to have here is like public class source. And that's really all I care about. Because the interesting thing with this, at least the way I've coded it, is that when you're doing these receivers, and then your visit syntax node, is all I'm looking to, you don't actually need to, as far as I can tell, say, am I really looking at the type of the thing I'm looking at? If that makes sense. I don't care. I have this map to attribute, which is actually in this metadata project. And you might say, why is it in a separate project? Because if I have it in the actual inline mapping project, for some reason, when I'm referencing it here, and I'm referencing it in a slightly interesting way, we have to say it's an output item type of analyzer, you actually can't reference the types within it. It wasn't actually showing up. So this one is the one I actually have to reference. Okay. But here I'm just saying, hey, tell me if the attribute has map to or match attribute in it. So really all I care about in this case is saying like map to. Okay. And that's it. I don't care if you actually have, let's do this. Okay. Somebody actually today, I think, said that get root async just does nothing but call get root. And so having it being async task. Actually having it as being async is kind of a stupid thing because it's really not, yes, I know, configure await false because reasons. Okay. So we have that. And of course, because of the beauty of that, descendant nodes, you say true of type class declaration syntax. Okay. Can I do this first? Yes. So there should be a first, and there should be only one. So we'll just say var class declaration. Okay. Now we're going to say var receiver is equal to new map to receiver. And we're going to say receiver.on visit syntax node where we have class declaration. And we're going to assert, I'm just going to say multiple because I think it's just assert that receiver dot candidates dot length count is greater than 0. In other words, we should have at least one. So let's stick this over here. Because reasons. Did you actually run? Why did you not run? What? I installed that. Well, for crying out loud, really? You're going to do this again? Yes, I have it installed. Right there. It's installed. Clean started, clean succeeded. Let's run. Unexpected error. Well, the build works. Following. What? What is this horse crap? Come on. Why does this stuff have to... I'm sorry. I just get so... I'm in preview. It was not possible to find any compatible framework version. It is 5.0. 5.0. Why aren't you... CD, we'll say inline. Mapping.tests.net. I think it's test. Shows you how often I do that. See, that works. That works. So guess what I'm going to be doing? Like all of this, because apparently terminal. Okay, so backtick. Control backtick, right? Wait, was it terminal? Control plus backtick. That's what I was doing. Oh, come on. It doesn't actually... You know what? Let's go do that. Okay, now let's do this. Ah, okay, it was working. Okay, so we have tests. We can at least run them and see. So we did get one. Okay, well, assert that receiver.candidates of 0 to display to string is equal to source, right? Oh, well, yeah. Identifier, name, text, things, stuff. I don't know. There. Okay. Well, see, okay. So that works. I guess what I could do too is just do like a couple other ones. Say like map to attribute. Holy crap! What was that? Map to attribute. That should also be the same. We should also have attributes declared as dummy. You dummy. Dummy. Okay. Now we should say that we have is equal to 0. And then we should have one test where if we don't have anything, where with no attributes. So let me just do that. Do that. Actually, I don't even need to do it. Okay. Right. So now if I do this, run the tests again, and we get 4. Okay. As expected. So, how do you actually get back to the code? Is there any way to get back to whatever? Okay. Well, yay. I mean, that's kind of good because at least this is, I think, working the way I expect it to. What was a little unsettling though is that when I was trying my stupid stuff out, is that I thought I was getting to here and I was never finding anything in candidates. So it wasn't actually like the map to receiver, like this on visit syntax node thing was never actually working. So if that's nothing there, that's nothing there. That could actually be null, though I don't know how. I'm kind of curious if I did identifier. Yeah, there is no identifier, of course not. But this works. So, and we're adding them. Okay, well, let's just keep going. Actually, let's go into Git here. Git committer stash. And we'll put in a message here. Of course. Added tests for map to receiver. Push. If you've noticed what I just did there, there's a Git menu option now in Visual Studio. And I'm trying it out just to see what it's like to do Git through Visual Studio. Again, I've talked about, do you use the command line, do you use tooling, blah, blah, blah. I'm just giving this a whirl to see what it's like. And, so far I've just done very basic things, but it seems to be working. So, for what it's worth. In any event, I've really not done any, view branch history. Yeah, I guess, show local branches, show remote branches, tags, switch to simple view. Okay, I just was curious. All right, so we've got map to receiver tests. Well, let's actually do map to generator tests because, well, do we want to? Yeah, we might want to get to that. I actually stole that code from another project I was on. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that. Public static class. So we want to test. Kind of unfortunate that the snippet actually gets in the way there. Public static void generate happy path. I will rename these later. I want to do something that I know is actually going to work. Now, this is the problem with editor config generator is that, but over here, because somebody, this person, yeah, like you can give it a piece of code here and then you create a compilation, which is through C#'s compilation. And then you can give it options, I guess, doesn't really matter. Metadata references, yeah. And then you run generators, which creates a driver. There's this generator driver class that you can use. And that way you can actually get stuff. I guess, I don't know. How do you actually tell that you get something out of this, though? Like, I get what this person's trying to do. Here's a different take on it. So you parse the text, you add references, you create a compilation from that. You do a new generator, which I guess is somewhere in his code. So does it make a new syntax tree and it puts it as the last one? Is that what it's doing? I don't know. I can't tell. I mean, I'm glad. Oh crap! The battery just died. So that's a shame. So I'm gonna have to. This is actually a good point to stop. So I'm gonna go change my batteries, and I will do one more episode, and I will work on figuring out how to actually get the stuff from the generator out and figure out what's going on. All right. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments, questions below. See you in the next episode.